Ever found yourself wondering why your depth seems to unsettle people? Or why the more you think, the less you feel like you belong? It's like your silence, your questions, and your refusal to go along with shallow expectations push others, especially women, away, leading them to criticize or misunderstand you. Søren Kierkegaard once said, "People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought, which they seldom use. But you think. And therein lies the issue. It's not that you're dangerous because you're aggressive. It's because you refuse to be predictable. In a world that equates predictability with safety, simply being an intelligent man poses a threat. Modern relationships often prioritize comfort over truth. But the intelligent man? He's allergic to illusions. He tears off the masks people wear and questions why love often feels transactional. He perceives the performance in their eyes, the disconnect between what's said and what's really felt. Kierkegaard cautioned us that the crowd is untruth. When a man decides not to conform to the crowd, when he forges his own path of meaning, embracing solitude and introspection, he disrupts the very framework society relies on to maintain passive and emotionally compliant individuals. Women don't fear intelligent men simply because they're smart. They fear them because they can't be contained. The intelligent man isn't dependent on flattery to feel sought after. He doesn't need validation to assert his masculinity. He doesn't act like a puppet just to be chosen. He doesn't chase after affection because he recognizes that many pursuits are rooted in illusion, not love. And when he does love, he does so with unsettling clarity, not for comfort but for revelation. That kind of presence, sharp and existentially honest, is a rarity. And what's rare is often rejected before it's respected. Kierkegaard explored despair, but not in the way most people think. He described it as the sickness unto death, a state of being unaware of one's estrangement from their true self. This is what modern culture fears most about men, that they might awaken from their performance, stop being charming, and start being conscious. A conscious man isn't easily swayed by applause or emotional chaos. He's not driven by a need to be liked, and when he no longer seeks approval, he becomes free, and therein lies his danger. Ask yourself why you often feel misunderstood in social situations. Why does it feel like people are uncomfortable around your silence? It's because most individuals, especially in our attention-driven society, derive their identity from being seen. The intelligent man, however, finds his identity in seeing, and that deep level of observation tends to make others uneasy, especially when they're trying to hide. Kierkegaard pointed out that life can only be understood backwards, yet it must be lived forwards. Intelligent men navigate life looking ahead, but they're always analyzing and comprehending the structure of everything: power, emotion, seduction, fear. So what happens when a man stops being enchanted by the surface? When he becomes unplayable, it's not because he's emotionally cold, but because he's whole. This wholeness poses a threat to the modern dating landscape, where confusion is currency and emotional unpredictability is misinterpreted as passion. Kierkegaard understood this all too well. He chose to walk away from the only woman he ever loved, not from a lack of care, but because he truly did care. He recognized that authentic living meant rejecting the roles society assigns, even at great personal cost. Men, listen up. The smarter you become, the more isolated you might feel. That's not a sign of failure. It's the cost of awakening. You intimidate others not because you're unkind, but because you're unconditioned. A man who can't be conditioned can't be controlled, and that's the biggest threat to any system built on manipulation, including romantic ones. Most people aren't looking for love. They want usefulness. They expect you to fulfill a role: provider, performer, protector, puppet. But the intelligent man steps outside of those frameworks. When he does, he becomes invisible to those still caught up in them. Kierkegaard called this the leap of faith. leaving behind the security of roles, systems, and superficial expectations to walk alone. It's choosing truth over comfort, even if it means embracing despair that's honest rather than bliss that's false. And yes, that leap comes at a cost. It strips you, but it also awakens you. Once you truly see, you can't unsee. Your intelligence, anchored in self-awareness and not just information, transforms you from a man seeking validation into one looking for a deeper meaning, or God. That shift can be terrifying, both for others and for yourself, because what follows isn't for the faint-hearted. Kierkegaard once said, "To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself." Many men have already lost themselves, not due to a lack of intelligence, but because they've been conditioned to apologize for it. You've been told to soften your words, dim your insights, pretend you don't see what's wrong, to smile at the fake, laugh at the shallow, and stay silent when something seems off. You've been trained to be agreeable to be accepted. But acceptance that demands the death of your essence isn't acceptance at all. It's assimilation, the threat of the unconditioned man. The intelligent man who refuses to assimilate becomes a threat, not just to women but to anyone who profits from his silence. You intimidate them not through aggression but precision. When you speak, your words carry weight. When you look someone in the eye, they feel truly seen, not flattered, just seen. And for many still trapped in illusions, being seen can be overwhelming. Most people seek comfort, not connection. They want their illusions reinforced. Yet the intelligent man dismantles illusions wherever he goes, especially in love. For him, love isn't a game, a power play, or a role play of unmet childhood wounds. It's about truth. And truth doesn't always feel good. It feels real. That's why you face resistance, confusion, or even hostility. Your presence challenges the system that rewards performance. You don't beg, chase, or repeatedly explain yourself just to be understood. Instead, you walk away, not out of anger, but because your soul refuses to be auctioned off to the highest bidder of convenience. A man who is calm, grounded, and inwardly sovereign is far more frightening than any tyrant. He's not reacting, he's consciously choosing, and this conscious choice is the ultimate act of rebellion left in our world. Want to know why intelligent men intimidate modern women? It's not due to any inherent malice. It stems from living in a world where most people expect performance over presence. The intelligent man can't fake presence. He either shows up fully or not at all. Many aren't ready for that kind of authenticity. It's too raw, too unfiltered, and demands self-awareness. Most would prefer to stay comfortably asleep than confront their own contradictions. Kierkegaard's life exemplifies this paradox. He loved Regina Olsen, but he left her not because he didn't care, but because he felt too much. He recognized his path was meant to be solitary, and that his inner world was too broad, too tumultuous to anchor to someone else. That's the intelligent man's paradox. He craves intimacy, but not at the expense of his integrity. He longs for connection, but refuses to perform to achieve it. He'd rather walk alone than dilute his essence just to be desired. That's not arrogance. It's alignment, and it terrifies people because deep down, everyone wants to be chosen. But the intelligent man desires to be met. Meeting requires the other person to also be whole, to face their own trials, and too many aren't prepared for that. So they label you as distant, difficult, or cold. But the truth is you aren't cold. You're clear. You don't harbor disdain for women. You just don't idolize illusions. You don't despise love. You merely refuse to equate dependency with love. You've seen too much to turn a blind eye to the truth. And that reality is what makes you unyielding. You cannot be manipulated or predicted, nor will you wait to be told who to be. Kierkegaard asserted, "The most common form of despair is not being who you are. But if you're resonating with this, you're different. You want to discover who you truly are, beyond the noise, beyond societal roles, and beyond the desire for approval. That journey is bound to cost you popularity, comfort, and even love. But what you gain in return is far more powerful: selfhood, sovereignty, and sanity. You'll stop looking for someone to complete you because you'll finally realize you're not incomplete. And when that realization hits, you become genuinely dangerous, not to others, but to the very system that thrives on brokenness. The deeper you delve, the more everything unravels, especially the lies you've been conditioned to believe about what it means to be a man in this world. Kierkegaard had no interest in success as society defines it. He wrote, "The greatest hazard of all, losing oneself, can occur very quietly in the world, as if it were nothing at all." And that's what's happened to so many men, a quiet disappearance, not physically, but spiritually. Many men have lost themselves trying to be palatable, charming, or whatever the room demands, until one day they look in the mirror and see a stranger. The intelligent man, however, can't pretend for long. The inner tension builds. He begins to notice that what others label as confidence often veils arrogance, that what they define as love is often dependency, and that what they call chemistry is frequently trauma speaking its native tongue. Once he sees, he suffers. That's the cost of awareness. He suffers because he no longer fits in. He suffers because his inquiries disrupt gatherings. He suffers because his clarity offends comfort. He suffers because his quest for truth repels those addicted to the act of performance. This is where the Kierkegaardian paradox surfaces. You have to either betray your authentic self to gain acceptance from the world, or betray the world to remain true to who you are. Most men take the first path. It's easier. It's celebrated, but it's a slow demise. The intelligent man, if brave, opts for the second choice. And in making that choice, he truly begins to live. Not comfortably or safely, but honestly. This honesty manifests in every aspect of life. How he speaks, how he dates, how he works, how he worships, and even how he walks away. The world penalizes this type of man because a man who isn't easily seduced by the crowd serves as a mirror to everyone still trapped within it. Choosing truth over the crowd. Now, let's talk about relationships. Why do women often feel uneasy around intelligent men? It's not indifference on their part. It's that they care differently. The intelligent man doesn't chase. He observes. He doesn't flatter. He listens. He doesn't react to every emotional cue like a trained pet. He chooses his responses meticulously. That makes him mysterious, and mystery can terrify those who need constant emotional validation. The intelligent man isn't absent. He's present selectively, which can feel like rejection for those accustomed to being worshipped without effort. Yet he doesn't worship. He discerns. Intelligence combined with emotional clarity grants him a kind of spiritual X-ray vision. He sees through smiles, games, and flattery. This keen insight makes anyone still hiding feel uneasy. Kierkegaard frequently spoke of the responsibility for an individual to become their true self, not a performer, not an external reflection of others' expectations, but a genuine self. Achieving this transformation necessitates silence, stillness, reflection, and solitude. Things modern culture abhors. A man sitting in silence for too long might stop consuming, stop conforming, and stop apologizing for who he is. Most frighteningly, he might cease chasing what was never truly worthy of him in the first place. If you want to unsettle people, walk into a room and refuse to seek attention. Just observe. Don't over-explain. Speak with precision. Set boundaries without raising your voice. Be kind without being compliant. Be romantic without being dependent. Watch how people adjust themselves in your presence, because deep down, everyone senses when a man is firmly rooted. Most don't know how to respond to a man like that, especially when he's not performing. This secret makes intelligent men dangerous. They refuse to play along. Kierkegaard said, "Once you label me, you negate me." The intelligent man cannot be boxed in. Is he cold? No, he's composed. Is he arrogant? No, he's self-respecting. Is he detached? No, he's discerning. Yet labels are simpler than self-reflection, so the world often reduces him to whatever makes them feel safer. Don't let that shake you. Let it sharpen you, deepen your solitude, and solidify your path. You weren't created to be palatable. You weren't designed to beg. You weren't meant to be everyone's comfort zone. You were made to embody the essence of a Kierkegaardian man, aware, faithful to truth, and willing to brave the storm to protect your soul. If that's what it takes, then let's forge ahead into the storm. Kierkegaard cautioned us, "The crowd is untruth." Yet many men still seek validation from the crowd. They measure their worth based on how many hearts they can win, how many smiles they can incite, and how often people clap for them. But applause is a trap. It compels you to mold yourself to please others, rather than staying true to what resides within. The truth you might not have been told is that the more intelligent you become, the less applause you'll receive. You're no longer performing for the crowd. You're playing for your soul. And that kind of authenticity often draws stares, questioning, and retreat. You intimidate others not through cruelty, but due to clarity. In a culture saturated with noise, your silence is disconcerting. In a world filled with stimulation, your stillness feels unsettling. In an age of constant availability, your resistance to being emotionally summoned on demand is rebellious. And it is. It's the rebellion of a man who has reclaimed his mind, heart, and attention. You owe no one a reaction, no one your confusion. The intelligent man does not justify himself to those committed to misunderstanding him. Have you noticed how quickly people grow uneasy when you cut back on oversharing? When you start guarding your thoughts? When your eyes convey more than your words? That's the energy of a man no longer trying to be understood by everyone. Such a man unnerves not only women but society as a whole. Society flourishes when men are distracted, addicted, and chasing. But the intelligent man? He doesn't chase. He opts for choice. His calm deliberation, grounded in self-worth, renders him unreadable, unplayable, and untouchable. Kierkegaard dubbed this the singular individual, the man who has separated himself from the crowd, not out of arrogance, but authenticity. He walks alone, not because he's antisocial, but because most paths lead to noise. He seeks truth, depth, and whatever form of God resonates with him. Here lies the paradox. The more you root yourself in your truth, the more people will try to shake you, not because you're wrong, but because you remind them of what they've abandoned, their own depth, integrity, and silence. In love, this becomes even more profound. The intelligent man doesn't romanticize chaos. He doesn't confuse unpredictability with passion. He seeks alignment, not excitement. He desires peace, not performance. When he speaks of love, he refers to something sacred, not merely hormonal. That kind of unwavering presence can be daunting to women who equate love with drama. It might come off as coldness, but in reality, it's a steady warmth. And that steadiness is unfamiliar to those caught in the roller coaster of emotional instability. You must not shrink, nor soften your clarity to be more palatable. You shouldn't hide your intelligence to appear less intimidating. Your role isn't to fit into the world's confusion. It's to stay anchored in truth, and sometimes that truth walks alone. The solitude that shapes strength. The intelligent man eventually discovers that solitude isn't loneliness. It's liberation. Alone, he sharpens his mind, cleanses his thoughts, and reconnects with his inner compass. He's not avoiding people. He's avoiding noise. In a world obsessed with constant connection, he chooses intentional disconnection, not out of disdain, but preservation. Modern culture conditions men to believe their worth lies in how many people they can keep around, how many women they can attract, and how visible they are on the social stage. But visibility without authenticity is a prison disguised as a spotlight. The intelligent man knows that being surrounded by people doesn't guarantee being understood, so he stops seeking quantity and starts protecting quality. Kierkegaard warned against the seduction of the crowd. Writing. The crowd is untruth. When a man learns to sit in his own company without the need for constant validation, he becomes immune to the manipulation of the masses. This immunity is threatening, not because it harms others, but because it makes control impossible. In solitude, he starts to notice what others miss. He observes patterns in human behavior. How much of it is mimicry? How rarely people question themselves? How often confidence is just fear wearing a mask? This clarity deepens his patience but sharpens his discernment. He's no longer fooled by flattery, distracted by trends, or seduced by superficial charm. This strength unnerves the world because it can't be purchased, taught in a weekend seminar, or faked on social media. It's built in the quiet hours, the unglamorous moments, the long nights where he wrestles with his own doubts and emerges with truth as his only companion. For women, this kind of man can be both magnetic and maddening. Magnetic because he's rare. He listens with intent, loves without possession, and exists without needing approval. Maddening because he cannot be controlled with the usual tools of ego, seduction, or emotional games. His boundaries are unshakable because they aren't about keeping others out. They're about keeping himself intact. When such a man enters a relationship, he does so from fullness, not from lack. He doesn't expect a partner to complete him because he knows he's already whole. This makes love with him deeper but also more demanding. It demands reciprocity, emotional maturity, and the courage to face truth without retreat. Many aren't ready for that. This is why the intelligent man is often misunderstood as cold or detached. People confuse his self-sufficiency with indifference. But he's not indifferent. He's selective. He's not emotionless. He's discerning about where he invests his emotions. His solitude isn't a wall, it's a filter. The irony is that the more comfortable he becomes in solitude, the more magnetic his presence becomes in public. People sense the quiet confidence of a man who doesn't need the room to validate him. And in a culture that thrives on approval seeking, that kind of self-assured stillness feels almost supernatural. But solitude has a cost. It can make you an outsider, someone who sees too much and speaks too little. You may watch friendships fade, romances dissolve, and opportunities vanish simply because you refuse to compromise your integrity. Yet in that loss, you gain the most valuable currency there is: sovereignty over your own soul. Kierkegaard's own life reflected this truth. He distanced himself from the crowd not to isolate but to preserve his ability to think, to feel, and to live authentically. And for the intelligent man, solitude isn't the absence of love. It's the soil in which real love can grow. So while the crowd laughs, mocks, or misunderstands, you stand rooted, not because you enjoy being apart, but because you refuse to be swept away. In the end, solitude isn't your punishment, it's your power, the mirror that others fear. The intelligent man, by his very nature, becomes a mirror. He reflects back to people what they'd rather not see in themselves: their contradictions, their illusions, and their dependency on performance. This is why his presence unsettles others. He doesn't even need to speak. His silence, his gaze, his refusal to play along already exposes the truth. Most individuals want flattery, not reflection. They want someone to reinforce their illusions, not dismantle them. But the intelligent man cannot help but strip away facades. His clarity doesn't allow him to pretend that dependency is love, that chaos is passion, or that validation is connection. Truth lives at the core of his being, and everything false eventually crumbles in his presence. Kierkegaard said, "Once you label me, you negate me." That is the struggle intelligent men face. They cannot be neatly categorized. Cold? No, composed. Arrogant? No, self-respecting. Detached? No, discerning. Yet labels are easier for people than self-reflection. So the world reduces him into boxes that make others feel safer, even if it means distorting who he really is. But the intelligent man doesn't exist to soothe insecurity. He exists to live authentically, even if authenticity demands misunderstanding. When others call him too much or too distant, they're really confessing their own inability to face depth. His refusal to be palatable isn't arrogance. It's allegiance to truth. This is why intelligent men often walk away, not from a lack of care, but from a refusal to dilute themselves. He doesn't beg to be chosen because he has already chosen himself. And that self-choice transforms everything. How he loves, how he works, how he prays, how he exists. In relationships, this paradox becomes sharpest. The intelligent man doesn't romanticize chaos. He doesn't equate jealousy with passion or control with intimacy. He seeks peace, not performance. He seeks presence, not distraction. For many, this feels alien. Women accustomed to drama may mistake his calm for coldness, but in truth it is warmth, steady, clear, and unwavering. Society too fears such men, because a man who refuses to chase illusions cannot be controlled. He cannot be distracted into addiction, seduced into performance, or manipulated into silence. His sovereignty is his rebellion. A man rooted in truth dismantles the very structures that profit from brokenness. That is why intelligent men so often feel like outsiders. They don't fit into workplaces obsessed with status, relationships built on performance, or friendships founded on flattery. But their solitude is not emptiness, it is refinement. It is where they discover that their worth has nothing to do with applause and everything to do with alignment. The mirror they hold is not kind to illusions, but it is faithful to reality. And while reality may be uncomfortable, it is the only foundation strong enough to build a life upon. This is why people resist them, mock them, or dismiss them, but also why they can never truly forget them. For the intelligent man, rejection isn't a wound, it's confirmation. It confirms that he has not betrayed himself for acceptance. And in that refusal, he finds his greatest strength, the power to live as a mirror of truth, even in a world addicted to lies, the courage to stand alone. Every intelligent man sooner or later reaches a crossroads. One road leads to comfort, the familiar path of fitting in, agreeing when he doesn't believe, and dimming his light so others feel at ease. The other road leads to truth, a lonelier path, but one where he remains intact. Most people choose comfort, and for good reason. Truth is heavy, and walking with it means walking against the crowd. Kierkegaard called this the sickness unto death, not physical death, but the slow death of the self that happens when a man abandons who he is to satisfy the expectations of others. The intelligent man refuses this fate. He would rather walk alone in clarity than be embraced in a fog of lies. This refusal demands courage, the kind that doesn't shout but endures. It's the courage to be misunderstood without rushing to defend yourself. The courage to set boundaries without guilt. The courage to say no when yes would buy temporary approval. And perhaps most difficult, the courage to keep your soul uncorrupted in a world that rewards corruption. Standing alone is not glamorous. It is nights where the phone doesn't ring. It is invitations that never arrive. It is friends who drift away because your truth challenges their comfort. But in that space, the intelligent man learns the rarest form of confidence, the kind that comes from needing nothing external to confirm his worth. This independence radiates in every aspect of his life. In love, it means he will never stay where he is not valued. In work, it means he will never trade integrity for status. In faith, it means he seeks direct connection with God or truth, without letting institutions dictate what his conscience already knows. The world cannot fully understand such a man, because he operates from a different source. His compass is not set by applause but by alignment, and that makes him unpredictable, uncontrollable, and yes, dangerous to a culture built on conformity. But here's the paradox. The more he embraces this solitude, the more deeply connected he becomes, to himself, to the few who truly see him, and to the timeless truths that cannot be altered by opinion. He stops needing the crowd, yet the right people are drawn to him anyway. Not because he seeks them, but because authenticity naturally attracts what is real. Kierkegaard once wrote, To be that self which one truly is indeed the opposite of despair. The intelligent man knows this well. Despair doesn't come from loneliness. It comes from living as someone you are not. And so he chooses the harder road, the narrower gate, and the quieter life, because that is where he remains whole. In the end, standing alone is not about rejecting others. It's about refusing to reject yourself. And that perhaps is the truest definition of strength. The legacy of the uncompromised man. When all is said and done, the intelligent man's life is not measured by how well he blended in, but by how steadfastly he remained himself. History rarely remembers those who merely fit the mold. It remembers those who broke it. And breaking the mold always comes at a cost. The cost is misunderstanding. The cost is being called arrogant when you're simply confident, cold when you're merely composed, stubborn when you're simply principled. But the intelligent man accepts this price because he knows the alternative. Living for the approval of others is far more expensive. It costs your identity, your peace, and eventually your soul. Kierkegaard warned against losing the self in the endless pursuit of acceptance. The uncompromised man has learned that to keep his self, he must sometimes walk alone, resist the pressure to conform, and speak truths that others would rather not hear. This doesn't make him a rebel for rebellion's sake. It makes him a guardian of what is real. His legacy is not built on the number of people who liked him, but on the depth of those who truly knew him. A few loyal friends, a love that is genuine, and a life lived in alignment with his deepest convictions. These are the marks of success he values. To women, he may always be a paradox, deeply loving yet fiercely independent, present yet not possessive, attentive yet unwilling to lose himself in another. To society, he remains an outlier, someone who cannot be bought, swayed, or silenced. And when his time is done, he leaves behind more than memories. He leaves a pattern, a path, an example for others to follow. Not a map to imitate step by step, but a compass that points to the same truth, that integrity is worth more than approval, and that the soul is worth more than the world's applause. In the end, the intelligent man does not ask, "Did they like me?" but rather, "Did I remain true?" And if the answer is yes, he can face life and death with the rare peace that comes from never having betrayed himself. This is the quiet, enduring power of the uncompromised man. He may walk alone, but he leaves a trail strong enough for others to find their own way home.